The most controversial biblical figures and their stories. The Bible is full of nuanced characters whose tales frequently go against accepted moral and ethical norms. These figures include certain people whose deeds elicit thoughtful consideration and discussion, illuminating the complexities of human nature, the effects of sin, and the relationships between power and agency. This exploration delves into some of the most controversial biblical figures, examining their stories and the moral dilemmas they present, ultimately highlighting the enduring relevance of these ancient texts. Number 9. Jephthah's daughter. The narrative of Jephthah, found in Judges 11, revolves around a tragic vow that has a very contentious conclusion. Jephthah promises that if he defeats the Ammonites in battle, he will sacrifice everything that comes out of his house to welcome him as a judge of Israel. Jephthah is devastated to see his only daughter emerge happily when he gets home. The text highlights her virginity and her request for a 2-month reprieve to mourn her fate, but it does not specifically say that he sacrifices her. Due to this ambiguity, 2 main interpretations have emerged. The first holds that Jephthah fulfilled his vow by offering a literal sacrifice, while the other suggests that she remained a virgin because she was committed to serving at the tabernacle for the rest of her life. The story poses important moral queries regarding the nature of vows, the fallout from making snap decisions, and how women are portrayed in the Bible. Discussions regarding agency and victimhood are frequently sparked by feminist interpretations, which emphasize the injustices suffered by Jephthah's daughter, who is left nameless and eclipsed by her father's deeds. Number 8. The Levite's concubine. One of the most graphic and unsettling stories in the Bible is the one about the concubine of a Levite found in Judges 19. When the story opens, the Levite is traveling with his concubine, who later departs to go back to her father's home. After the Levite brings her back, they make a nightly stop in Jephthah, where an old man extends them hospitality. But the city's men encircle the residence and demand to mistreat the Levite. The Levite offers his concubine to the mob in a shocking display of desperation, which leads to her brutal rape and eventual death. Following her decapitation and sending the pieces to the tribes of Israel, the Levite's actions incite indignation and spark a civil war against the tribe of Benjamin. The themes of gender violence, societal moral decay, and the treatment of women as property are presented to readers in this story. It is a harsh reminder of the repercussions of lawlessness and the pressing need for justice in a neighborhood. Number 7. Onan. The story of Onan, found in Genesis 38, centers on the custom of levirate marriage, in which a man is required to wed the widow of his deceased brother in order to have children named after him. Onan is told to carry out this obligation to Tamar, the widow of his brother, but he purposefully spills his seed on the ground to prevent fathering a child that would not be regarded as his own. God punishes him for his disobedience by striking him dead. Regarding its implications for sexual ethics and the nature of divine punishment, this story has generated a great deal of discussion. While some see Onan's actions as a critique of contraception, others see them as a warning against selfishness and a failure to uphold familial responsibilities. In the context of divine law, the story poses moral questions regarding one's choices, personal responsibility, and the sanctity of life. Number 6. Balaam. The story of the non-Israelite prophet Balaam, who appears in the book of Numbers, is riddled with moral ambiguity and a complex character. Employed by Moabite king Balak to curse the Israelites, Balaam first asks God for direction and is told to bless them. His donkey sees a famous encounter with an angel of the Lord that he does not, but it marks his journey. This episode emphasizes the concepts of divine intervention and the boundaries of human comprehension. Balaam's readiness to take payment for his prophecies raises moral concerns about the objectivity of spiritual leadership and the legitimacy of the prophetic office. In the end, Balaam's counsel to the Moabites causes Israel to fall prey to idolatry and seduction. Thus, his tale serves as a warning about the perils of compromising one's morals for one's own benefit and the repercussions of misguiding others. Number 5. Ezekiel. During the Babylonian exile, Ezekiel was a prominent prophet who was renowned for his vivid, frequently bizarre visions that convey important theological lessons. He performs dramatic symbolic acts as part of his prophetic ministry, such as lying on his side for prolonged periods of time to symbolize the siege of Jerusalem. The themes of judgment, restoration, and God's sovereignty are present in Ezekiel's visions, which encourage Israel's people to consider their deeds and relationship with God. His predictions are both powerful and contentious due to his use of vivid imagery and strong language, sparking discussions about the nature of divine revelation and the prophet's function as a social critic. With an emphasis on the significance of repentance and the hope for restoration, Ezekiel's nuanced messages encourage readers to consider the relationship between God and his people in times of crisis. Number 4. Samson. Considered to be among the final judges of Israel, Samson's uncut hair serves as a symbol of his Nazarite vow to God and gives him exceptional strength. A string of personal setbacks characterize his life, especially those involving women like Delilah, who eventually betrays him. He is captured by the Philistines, who gouge out his eyes and compel him into servitude after she seduces him and chops off his hair while he is sleeping. Themes of treachery, retaliation, and redemption abound in Samson's narrative, which comes to a head in his last valiant deed when he brings down the walls of a Philistine temple, killing numerous people in the process. Questions about the nature of strength and weakness, the effects of one's own decisions, and the complexity of divine purpose in the face of human failure are raised by this story. Samson's persona serves as a reminder of people's innate capacity for both success and failure. Number 3. Bathsheba. One of the most moving and contentious tales in the Bible is the one about Bathsheba. She is initially presented as the Hittite warrior Uriah's wife. When King David sees her taking a bath, he becomes enamored with her and calls her, which starts an adulterous relationship that ends with her becoming pregnant. David plots Uriah's death in combat, essentially committing murder, to atone for his transgression. Later on, Solomon, the king who succeeds David, is born of Bathsheba. Significant ethical issues regarding consent, power dynamics, and the effects of sin are brought up by this tale. Over time, opinions about Bathsheba have changed. Some see her as a victim of David's lust, while others see her as an accomplice. Her story highlights the moral ramifications of David's actions, as well as the more general themes of justice and accountability, stimulating conversations about the difficulties of female agency in a patriarchal society. Number 2. Judas Iscariot. The most notorious person in the New Testament is probably Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus Christ in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. The reasons behind Judas's betrayal as one of the 12 apostles are still hotly contested among academics and theologians. According to certain interpretations, he acted out of greed, while other theories contend that he might have become disillusioned with Jesus' mission. His treachery results in Jesus' imprisonment and execution, posing difficult issues with commitment, free will, and predestination. Judas's tragic demise, in which he commits suicide after understanding the consequences of his deeds, gives his persona additional depth. His narrative raises important questions regarding the nature of sin and redemption, while serving as a warning about the perils of betrayal and the moral conundrums faced by those in positions of trust. Number 1. Cain. The firstborn son of Adam and Eve, Cain is most remembered for killing his jealous brother Abel in the first murder. After Cain's offering is rejected by God in favor of Abel's, Cain becomes enraged and commits a violent act that has disastrous results. Cain is marked by God to prevent him from being killed by others. But as a form of punishment, God sentences him to a life of wandering. Fundamental queries concerning the nature of sin, jealousy, and humanity are brought up by this tale. Cain's emotional turmoil and his actions afterward underscore the intricacies of familial bonds and the aftermath of unbridled fury. The story highlights the need of moral integrity and self-control in the face of temptation, and asks readers to consider themes of redemption, accountability, and the inherent struggles in human nature. In addition to offering insight into the complexities of morality and human behavior, these accounts of contentious biblical figures and their stories also promote deeper thought on the themes that recur throughout the biblical narrative. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.